Doo-doo-dee. It's Nandi!
Hello friends. There has been so much to cover in this patch, and in this video I'll go over the newest machine of war, the Necron Canoptech Reanimator. It's a pretty simple machine of war, so this will accordingly be a shorter video. If you're here for a 15-second summary, we should start by discussing the secondary first. It gives a target a health buff for the rest of the battle. The primary ability then heals all of the units that have that secondary effect. It gets a bit more interesting because if the affected unit is a summon, then it takes another action. The mythic ability lets characters deal more damage. Overall, I think this will be a PvP focused machine, but as you'll see shortly, there is also some guild raid potential. On the splash screen, the Reanimator looks awesome. Snowprint's art department, as usual, have done a great job with the model and animations. The secondary ability is Nanoscarab Repair Protocols. There is no cooldown on it, so from turn 1 you can target one of your mechs to provide a bonus to maximum health and also increase the amount of health they regain when healed, or restore through things like the Necron Living Metal faction trait. The primary ability is Reanimation Beam. It doesn't target any specific ally, but instead applies a blanket effect to units that have the Reanimator already targeted with its secondary ability, Nanoscarab Repair Protocols. All affected units are healed, summons attack up to a maximum amount of their own damage, and the first of your own units that is defeated but not overkilled is revived in the next turn. This reanimation effect can trigger on characters as well as summons. As we've already spoken about, the mythic ability provides units affected with a secondary a damage boost. The abilities are simple enough, but let's look at gameplay clips before diving into the numbers. The secondary here is applied to a couple of Necrons, and you can see this cool green visual beam applied to the characters. They get this pretty clear buff icon that informs the increased health and healing that the units receive. In the next clip, the Necron warrior summoned by Anufet already has the secondary effect applied. When we use the Reanimator's primary ability, you can see that the Necron warrior is healed and attacks again. Clearly, on the surface, this is more of a defensive machine of war, particularly beneficial to the Necrons. I thought we could take a look at some math and graphs next, courtesy of Tawin, Tacticus Ambassador and Friend. I'll break the graph down. Blue is the Necron unit's base health, and then green is the new health total with the Machine of War buff. Yellow then shows the amount of health healed per turn through the buffed Living Metal trait. I think this looks pretty impressive, and Necron units get a 30 to 40% buff to bonus health at Diamond 3 and level 50 abilities. Scarab Swarms get the biggest bonus and go from 2k health to 5k health, and the buff is extra impactful due to their swarm mechanic. We mentioned guild rates at the start, so let's look there next. The bit of interest is around the extra summons and their triggers. In a theoretical world, you would apply the passive buff to Row for the extra damage at Mythic Rarity, and then 2 or 3 further summons, and then use the primary to give you extra hits for the summons and extra Row triggers. You probably need to work out the sweet spot in terms of when you apply the secondary to summons versus when you switch to reactivating the summons every turn, but I think this will vary based on boss. Anyway, the theory only gets you so far, so let's look at some replays. We're fighting against a legendary 1 Screamer here, with the Reanimator replay against the Screamer on the left and the Plague Burst Crawler replay on the right. As the replays run through, I'll point out that Amok is a pretty good character for the team with the Reanimator Machine of War. The Steeljack is such a good target to cause the extra triggers since it's such a powerful unit in general. I was as surprised as you were to see that the Reanimator team, with the extra triggers and the summon, ends up pushing ahead by almost 350k damage versus the Plague Burst Crawler team on the right. Now, I know this is at max settings, but I just wanted to give you some flavor of comparison to see if this machine of war is worth investing in. Sorry, I don't generally like to have lots of replays in my videos, but I wanted to show you another one here with the Reanimator and a Legendary 3 Riptide. The main thing to highlight here is that the wording on the Reanimator says that the affected summons take another action, rather than just an attack. It's relevant as this gameplay clip will show you, and I want you to pay attention to turn 4 in particular. Because it's more than a simple attack, our Skitarii first move and then attack, and that's relevant because it allows Tangira on his reactivation to trigger 4 Skitarii as they summon a concave around him. It may seem small on the surface, but these little things add up over the course of a battle, and this provides the Mech Team here a very respectable 1.6 million score. Again, I'll let this replay run through in case it is useful for anyone in the future. Next, Incursion. For the Reanimator machine we use Chaos characters, and as you would expect, we fight against Necron enemies as NPCs. There are no new Necron NPCs here to fight through, but there are 2 new power-ups on the Incursion track, called Crit Booster power-up and Rapid Assault power-up. They do what they say on the tin. If you haven't seen my Machine of War guide, I would recommend checking it out. I've used the same assessment model for this machine. I think the Reanimator is primarily going to be for PvP. It obviously works best alongside the Necrons, where the secondary ability for the Machine of War turns Necrons into really impressive and tanky defensive units. It also does have some interesting potential in guild raids. As we speak, I'm not sure I would advise building it for the majority of the players, since the Mech Team isn't the top of the meta at the moment, but that could all change in the future. Overall though, I kind of like the gameplay loops with it, and I'll build it to a moderate level for Guild War enjoyment. It could very easily end up being the Machine of War of choice for the Mech Raid team as well. Time will tell. That's all I've got. I hope you found it useful. A big shout out to my Patreons and YouTube members for supporting me, and bye for now.